Hey guys, Julian here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make tech house style of Sink or Swim, John Summit, Guz, like that style, super popular and dominating the charts right now. To go along with this video, I just dropped a new sample pack, which you actually heard in the intro. What this is it's Definitive Tech House Construction Loop Kits Volume 1. So you essentially get these 5 kits with these really solid tech house tracks. Right, they're all set up. Some of these have a build too. So yeah, it's 5 of these. You get all the individual audio loops, so you can go and work with these and make your own tracks out of them. Plus, I've included the project files as well. So if you're using Ableton, you can actually just work with these exactly how they are, with MIDI, all that. You don't have to just use the loops. So I think this is a really solid pack for people that are trying to get into making this style, or maybe you already are making this style and you just need some more inspiration. It's got everything you need to make a bunch of really awesome tracks, and everything sounds super high quality. It's super solid already right out of the box, so you can just drop it right in and get to, actually writing tracks and not just sitting there looking for the best kick sample. On top of this, I've also got some bonus drum construction loops and bonus bass lines included free. So you really have everything you need to make a track in this style. Once again, guys, this is, in my opinion, one of the best sample packs for this style out right now. Definitely, in terms of the very, very current style of tech house, I think this might just be the best. But you also get just really solid project files and loops and the bonus files as well to work with. Once again, guys, if you're enjoying these videos, definitely go grab this. It really helps keep me going. It's not that expensive, but you get a really, really solid collection of loops. Plus, you get to help support me, and I can keep bringing you guys new videos every single day. So yeah, thank you so much for the support, guys. Link is right at the top of the description if you want the best tech house sample pack for the current style of tech house. And yeah, let's dive in. So, I have one of these in front of me right now, actually, and I'm going to use this to explain some stuff to you today. So you see, what we've got here, as you can see right along the top, I just have the lows, right? Kick and bass, pretty simple. I've broken these down for you guys a lot before, but yeah, essentially same style of just very simple 3-note bass line. Simple bass sound, just using a basic FM patch. Which, if you guys have watched the John Summit production videos, you know that he uses Operator to make these bass lines as well. I've got a little bit of drum bus, just blended in there. It's very little, but it just adds a little bit more fatness. But yeah, I think the main thing here is just not messing it up, It can be tempting when you're making this type of a track to go and use a bunch of saturation and compression and drum bus that you don't really need, to try to make things fatter, when really, it's about setting up a solid foundation for the sound, right? This sound coming out of Operator already is 90% of the way there. So then you add that little tiny bit of drum bus, and that's what really gives it the fullness. And then the only other effects on here are just for, side chaining, and then there's a high pass filter for the build up there. And then pretty much same deal with the kick, right? It's you don't want to mess this up. Try and just get a fat kick through layering if you can. That's how this kick was made. It's that same method I've shown you guys before, where it's low end layer, high end layer, put them together, and you get a kick. And yeah, and then from there, I'll show you the drums. And so you notice something when you hear the drums, right? There's a lot in here, right? There's obviously 4 layers of hi-hats, 4 layers of percussion, a ride, a clap, and these hi-hats. But you notice that the main things that you're hearing are always going to be these, Right, and I think this is something really important to keep in mind, that when you're making these the main kick, the main hi-hat, the main clap, snare thing, you gotta make those all really hit. Like, you can't just treat those like, like some other sounds, like the little background hi-hats. Yeah, you could probably just kind of grab like a little tiny hi-hat sample, and it's a background hi-hat, so it's gonna work. When you're making these, the main ones, you really have to make sure they're hitting, and you really have to put in that effort to get the right powerful sounds, which a lot of times is just layering, because especially with the hi-hats, very rarely are you gonna find a hi-hat that right out of a sample pack is just got the perfect tss and the perfect ch to it. You need both. You need the ch for punch, so you get a good boonch boonch off of the kick, but you also need the tss, because just the ch on its own, I'm like speaking a whole different language here, but the ch on its own is just not gonna have that right like cut. Like, it's not gonna cut through the mix, so you need the high end. And so that's what we've done here. You can see I've got a nice classic ch, super punchy. And then we also have a nice bright hi-hat. And I actually have my stereo widening rack on this. So that's another thing about the layering, is that, usually you're going to want your highs to be a little bit wider, and that can make it sound really nice. The problem is, if you apply stereo widening to the whole hi-hat and try to make this one wide as well, it's not going to work, because this needs to be punchy in the middle. So, this way we're able to very easily just make the highs really wide, because you can just drop that on the high layer. And then the clap is, I'm really just about the sample, like, just got a little high-end boost on that. But it's just about getting that really good sample that's going to, like, smack off of the kick. You don't want doom, doom. You need doom, doom. It's got to, like, really hit like that. And that's not in the processing. That's in just finding a really good sample. There's a million claps out there that you can find in sample packs that just sound like, or like, it's like, it's not even really hitting that much. And then if you try to drop that in here, the whole groove is going to be thrown off. Because the truth is, like, when you're choosing a sample, there's really no such thing as the perfect kick, or the perfect clap, or the perfect hi-hat. There's just the perfect one for that scenario, right? Like, this clap is perfect for this groove. It fits really, really well with the kick and the hi-hat. And so that's why we're choosing the bigger one. It's not just to make it massive, it's because this is really what works best with this groove. And if we went in and got, like I said, like one of those little tiny, like, claps that you hear, it's just not really going to fit. It's going to be, the whole groove is going to be thrown off, and the whole track is going to be thrown off, and then you're going to be wondering why. And yeah, and we have like a ride. Yeah, it's kind of in the background, but I think that adds a lot of like kind of movement to the drum groove. The hi-hats, which are just like, so you see, it's like these two kind of doing call and response with each other. And then we have this loop, which is just one of mine. And then this little organic shaker over top of that, kind of putting even more movement in it. So yeah, that little detail work in the hi-hats is going to make a big difference. Because obviously, it's going to get boring. But when you have cool stuff like this, like these two playing off of each other, and then these two programmed hi-hats are also playing off of each other, that keeps it exciting. And then same thing with the percussion over here, right? Like, this stuff really fills it in. And you can see we kind of have different groups of things. Like, we have, like, this one, which is just constantly going. We have this bell, which is just like a little doot doot. Right, very simple. We have like a nice percussion that you really only hear at the end of every 2 bars. And then we have like these bongos, which are going constantly, but they're a little bit more spaced out. And it's about having those like different groups of things. And I think that's what can be hard to put your finger on. But essentially, it's that. It's like, there's one thing that's just the whole time. There's one thing that's doot doot doot. And then there's one thing that's just like a fill, and then one thing that's in there, and like, you're putting all that together and creating a pretty complex little loop just inside of this little percussion group here. But then you combine that with all the other grooves going on in the track, and put it at the right level, and it works really, really well. So yeah, those are like, I would start the track with those. Like whenever I make a track, I start with the kick, go up to the bass line, and then it's some combination of the different percussions from there. But the other thing that's really, really important with this style are going to be all of these layers. Right? And you notice these are almost constantly happening. Like, even though we have a pretty full groove, right, with all the drums and the bass, we still have these constantly moving in and out over top of everything. And that's really important. These types of tracks, see, it's not just about making that drum groove. Obviously, yeah, like, you know, this stuff, it's important. But if you just have that the whole track, it's going to get really boring. So it's actually, that's just one part of it. The other part of it is this, juxtaposing these very, like, busy, like, kind of ear-grabbing sounds over top of it. And it's the two grooves, the synths and the drums and bass line, that are coming together to create the whole thing. If you just make the drums and bass line, you're kind of missing the point, because it's, obviously, yeah, it's about having that be good, but it's about having that be really good, this be really good, and then you're juxtaposing them together. And these are really simple. Like, it's all, like, very basic MIDI, like, you know. That's just two notes across different octaves. You know, this one just does, like, a... This is, like, a little pluck. You also hear that in the intro. I have like a clap, which is paired up with this effect here. I like layering too like that, especially if it's like a little fill, like at the end of a bar or something like that. But yeah, so these are really important. Again, it's not just making that groove. Obviously, you have to know how to do that very well with the drums and the kick and the bass line. But that's only half of it, you know? And if you only make your track that stuff, it's going to be really boring. This stuff is what brings it to life. And the only other thing here is just the effects along the bottom. Like I got the snare build, a little fill with the snare as well. Some little sweeping effects. I have this riser I made with the sub 37 back there. And that's kind of a cool sound, because basically what you're hearing, so I'm playing one note on the sub 37. You can hear that underneath everything. But then what's happening is the filter's really resonant, and there's like some distortion on it, and then I'm just really slowly turning up the cutoff. So you're getting that cutoff sort of creating the pitch, basically, because the resonance is so high with the distortion. And then it's the two tones of the steadily, the note that I was playing, with the rising pitch from the filter. It's that, and then obviously it's a sub 37, so it has a really nice filter in it, and you just get a really cool sound out of that. So kind of a different way of making the riser, and then that's just going through a reverb, a bit of a high pass filter, and yeah. So that is how you make it. I wanted to show you guys a little bit of a different way of doing it this time. You know, instead of just going and showing you every single excruciating detail, kind of explaining more of the big picture stuff and how to tie it all together. Let me know how you guys like this video. And like I said in the beginning, you can get my new pack, Definitive Tech House Construction Loop Kits Volume 1, right at the top of the description on my Bandcamp. Again, this really helps support me. Plus, you get these 5 really solid kits with all the individual loops, plus Ableton files in the style. Again, in my opinion, this is the best sample pack in this very current modern style of tech house that I've seen on the market. You know, I'm trying to just provide you guys with some really solid stuff. Every single loop in here is something that you can use, that you can make into a track that can inspire you to make your best music and hopefully make that big track that you've been trying to make. Plus, you get the bonus bass lines. Plus, you get the bonus drum construction loops. So it's a really great way to just get everything you need in one place to make this style. You'll be super covered, and you can make a bunch of tracks with this. Plus, you guys really help support me by grabbing this. You know, if you enjoy these videos and you watch every day, definitely go grab this. It really helps keep me going. And yeah, Thanks everyone, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.